This is episode 22 of Entrepreneurs for a Change. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to our mailing list at entrepreneursforachange.com. Are you ready to be the change? If so, you've come to the right place. You are about to join a movement of entrepreneurs who are empowering people, saving the planet, and turning their passion into profits while creating the lifestyle of their dreams. If you don't believe us, check out our website at entrepreneursforachange.com. A place where you can be inspired, mentored, and supported by a tribe of change-making entrepreneurs just like you. Hello, Radiant Changemakers. This is Lauren O'Lee, host of Entrepreneurs for a Change, a web show featuring entrepreneurs who are changing the world and changing the way we do business. Today, I made a momentous decision. I've decided to stay in Chiang Mai indefinitely. I've spent a lot of time assessing my optimal lifestyle design scenario. One scenario that I explored was spending 6 months in the San Francisco Bay Area and 6 months elsewhere. I have to admit I miss my tribe, and San Francisco has a unique subculture that is a blend of technology innovation, sustainability, social enterprise, spirituality, personal growth, music, and art that I find wonderfully expressed by the Burning Man community that simply cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Not in New York, not in London, not in Ibiza. But the housing market is really tight in the Bay Area. Not a lot of people have an extra room that they aren't already renting out. And if they do have an extra room, it's mostly because they want to keep it as a spare guest room for short visits, as opposed to having a friend squat it for half a year. So when I started looking at the cost of relocating back to the Bay Area for 6 months, the complexity of the process, having to maybe overbid on well-priced rentals because it's just so competitive, leasing a car, God, do I need to buy furniture, etc., it started to feel like an uphill battle. And so I took a step back and reflected on a resolution that I made earlier this year, to be more in the flow, to allow the universe to carry me, rather than to engage in activities that feel like I am pushing the river. Chiang Mai is an easy and good place to be based as a location-independent internet entrepreneur. And in this interview with Leon J., online marketer and lifestyle entrepreneur, author, and creator of FusionHQ, a powerful drag-and-drop online marketing platform and sales funnel in a box, we discuss why Chiang Mai rocks. If you are a wisdompreneur, someone whose business is based on sharing your expertise, either through consulting, coaching, creating online programs, or selling digital information products, this interview will give you the framework on how to set up your online business. In this interview, Leon shares the anatomy of a sales funnel system, the pitfalls of using WordPress to power your online business, the one thing you should avoid when making follow-up offers to customers, how to fine-tune your free opt-in giveaway to attract optimal sign-ups without hurting sales, the most common mistakes inexperienced internet marketers make when creating a sales funnel, why free might be the most expensive decision you make, and much, much more. Show notes can be found at entrepreneursforachange.com/22. Now, before diving into the interview, I want to encourage you to rate, review, and download Entrepreneurs for a Change on iTunes. This really helps us reach more people with inspiring stories of entrepreneurs who are changing the world. Also, if these stories inspire you to start a world-changing business of your own, head over to our website at entrepreneursforachange.com and download the Business Changemakers Toolkit to get a jumpstart today. Now on to the show. So, hello, Leon. I want to take the opportunity to publicly thank you for creating such an awesome co-working space here in Chiang Mai. Your Wi-Fi Cafe Coffee Monster has just been a delightful place to work with so much thought put in to making it a really comfortable co-working space for other digital nomads. So I just want to really express my appreciation to you, and I'd love to also introduce you to my audience, and if you could share with us a little bit more about your background, what brought you here, and what you do.
Thanks. Well, I mean, I've been in the IM space now for probably just over 10 years or so. And I mean, I've worked in a variety of capacities. I've been a an affiliate manager for a multi-million-dollar personal development company. I was director of marketing for Mark Joyner. Some of you may know him as the godfather of internet marketing and basically the first person to ever sell an ebook online. And I built a variety of my own little businesses and partnered up on a variety of projects, including doing one launch where we generated about $1.4 million in 10 days. And more recently, I've been building my own platform for internet marketers, which is FusionHQ. So we set up that to enable online marketers and product owners to build and control their business from a centralized point. And as you just mentioned, most recently we've been opening up the Coffee Monster Cafe, which is more of a side project to enable other people to kind of come together, meet each other, and work together.
Fantastic. So I'm curious to know how long you've been living in Thailand. And, obviously you like it here a lot, so I'd love to ask you what you love about it.
Yeah, I came here 5 years ago, something like that, five and a half years ago. And it was actually after I finished working with Mark Joyner, and I decided I wanted to start my own business again and looked at places around the world that would be safe, that would have good infrastructure, particularly obviously good internet, that I could find and hire a team for a competitive price, and that I could, of course, live myself and basically maximize my budget so that I could invest as much of my savings back into my business as possible while maintaining a decent lifestyle. And basically Chiang Mai just ticked all of those boxes. And so that's why I made the decision, and, it's never looked back.
I have to say that Chiang Mai is definitely a lovely place. I mean, it's a big city. It's the second largest city in Thailand, but yet it feels like a small town. People are really laid back.
Absolutely.
Like, the drivers are really courteous. No one's trying to run me down on my scooter.
No. And you don't get the feeling of trying to be ripped off like a lot of tourist destinations.
Oh my God,
it's like just people are so chilled out here.
I know. It's so great not to be a walking gringo cash machine.
And yet, we have all of the luxuries of Western living, like the proper shopping malls and cinemas and high standard restaurants and cafes and all of that, but living at a fraction of the price in the West. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you're trying to start a business, then Chiang Mai has to be up there as one of the best places in the world to live if you're doing business online.
Definitely. What I love about Chiang Mai is that it actually has a pretty good or strong, thriving, holistic culture as well.
Yes.
There's lots of restaurants that serve organic, locally produced food.
Yes.
No MSG. You can get superfoods here as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's vegetarian capital of Thailand.
Yeah, lots of yoga also, meditation. It's fantastic for those of you that really find it important to lead a conscious lifestyle.
Yep, that's it. And I mean, it's got a real strong Buddhist culture here. And I think that you really do feel that, the people are just so considerate and, as you said before, courteous. And I think that just sort of pervades all areas of life in Chiang Mai.
Yeah. So I'm also curious to know, you were mentioning about hiring local talent here. I mean, are you having good success with hiring local Thai people to do work for you, and what kind of work?
Now, it comes with a word of caution to anybody trying to hire people in Thailand. If you've never done it before, it's not as straightforward as some places. It's certainly not perfect in terms of the talent pool here is limited. The quality and standard of education in Thailand isn't the world's greatest. That said, there are many people who are self-educated and hardworking and, really breaking free of their education background. And so there is talent here to be found. And it does come at a fraction of the cost. It just takes a little bit longer to maybe find than perhaps other places. So we're using Thais for basically most of our programming. I've got a good team of programmers. We have my office manager. We have customer support. We've used them for video editing. And essentially, there's quite a range of, different talent sets to be found here. And, if you're looking for the best programmers, designers, and everything like that on average, then yes, I would suggest like Philippines or Eastern Europe is generally better. But if you want to live here and you want to work with people locally, there are people to be found, and you can, they are here, and when they are good, they are good. So,
is there a job portal that you recommend that has English-speaking Thai talent?
We go to I believe it's jobnorthland.co.th, something like that. Again, my office manager deals with most of the hiring, but there are a couple of online notice boards that most of the Thais look for, and particularly the more educated ones.
Okay, so can you tell us exactly what kind of business you are running these days? So it seems like you've, had a, pretty interesting career working in high-profile IM launches, and now you have your own platform. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I started off with a lot of affiliate marketing, moved more into information marketing, and of course they go very much hand in hand. And, basically what I found was that during the different launches, we found that there was a series of challenges that we were facing. And so I wanted to come up with a solution. And so it was more a matter of trying to fulfill my own needs that we started developing FusionHQ. And that has become much more of a service-based business now because it's an online platform for internet marketers to use. And so now that takes up most of my time in terms of trying to ensure that we have the highest quality standards, that we have the latest features, and that more of my time goes into building and marketing that than my original background, which was more the launches, the affiliate and information marketing side of things. So, yes, it's been an interesting transition from affiliate marketer to business owner, but we are still very much hands-on with information and affiliate marketers, and we still do participate very much in that style of business.
So pretty much you're entirely focused on building out and improving and promoting FusionHQ as your primary business, but you also still participate in other types of affiliate marketing plays?
Yes. We use affiliates to help promote our product. And so, and plus not only that, we have a back-end revenue that we generate through promoting other people's products where they make sense. So, it's still very much information and affiliate marketing, but it's now moving more and more into a business, a fully fledged business with a full team of staff, and we have people now working for us around the world, and focusing much more on trying to establish and grow the business.
So tell me what FusionHQ actually is.
It's basically a platform that enables affiliate marketers and information marketers to build sales funnels, build membership websites, run affiliate campaigns, build autoresponder sequences, and it includes its own CDN and hosting. So basically, it's a total end-to-end solution for anyone wanting to do business online.
So essentially, let's see, when I think about some of the other types of competitive products that are out there, we have, for example, we have Optimize Press.
Yes.
There's any number of WordPress plugins that you can use, Digital Access Pass, Wishlist Member. Then you'd also have, your Squeeze and Sales Page,
Yep.
Types of platforms like Lead Pages, for example. How would you compare your product versus some of the other more commonly used products that are WordPress-based out there? Okay,
so my biggest issues with WordPress are simply that basically, why buy a bunch of different plugins that are designed to try and hack a core platform that was never meant to be what you're trying to use it for? So what I mean by that is, like with WordPress, it's not meant to be a membership site. It's not meant to be a sales funnel system. So the coding is never designed accurately. That means things like Wishlist Pro and Optimize Press are trying to force WordPress to do something that it was never designed to do. And this can have a lot of knock-on negative effects. Plus, you've got to constantly try and keep the plugins updated, hope that the various plugin providers will keep it updated, that there's no conflicts with each of the plugins. And then, of course, there's the multitude of security issues around WordPress and using an open source platform. And, we've had the majority of our customers actually come from that background. Most of our customers, people who were using exactly those tools, Wishlist, Optimize Press, Infusionsoft, Amember, Aweber, GetResponse, and a variety of the other different tools that are out there. And the main reason they move over to us is basically they are tired of the setup time involved, of constantly trying to patch things together, trying to fix things when they go wrong, trying to keep things updated, trying to handle the security concerns. And one of the biggest issues we were using Amember with, I believe it was GetResponse and WordPress and a couple of other plugins to try and run the major launch that I mentioned earlier. And the main issue we had with that was that customer support was a nightmare. I mean, an absolute nightmare in terms of the fact that every time we got a refund, it would take 8 minutes because you would have to reverse the access inside of the membership site script. You would have to deactivate them from the autoresponder. You would have to reverse the affiliate commission inside the affiliate commission script, and you would have to reverse the payment and notify that person that the refund had taken place.
Yeah, oh my God, that sounds like such a pain.
It's a real pain in the ass, and it's what most people don't think about. This is the trouble. Most amateur marketers, when they start online, they're looking for the cheapest solutions, and they're trying to patch things together, or they're looking for the most commonly taught solutions. And the truth is that they're not always the best. In fact, actually, they can cause you more headache, more stress, and cost you more money in the long term than using a purpose-built solution that basically, in the case of the refund, would take 30 seconds to refund a customer, and it's done. And everything is handled simultaneously. In the case of setup, for that same launch, it took us about 4 weeks and 3 people to set up the entire platform, to integrate the different scripts, to get everything running, to test everything all the way through. In the case of FusionHQ, just the tech setup side of things now takes us about 60 seconds to do the entire thing. And that's without anybody being professionally trained in that setup process. So you can see we've gone from 3 trained staff taking 4 weeks to 1 semi-trained staff taking 30 seconds to a minute. That's a huge cost saving and a huge time saver in terms of every time we set up a new project. In the case of a project being running, we are saving ourselves 8 minutes, well, actually I guess technically 7.5 minutes, for every time a refund is issued. And we're minimizing a ton of different potential headaches and problems of integration and things that would go wrong during a normal setup and testing process. I mean, in addition to that, just the simplicity of managing the system, we did one launch where we added $30,000 to our back end in revenue simply because we were using FusionHQ, and we could add an exit pop-up at the last minute, which we'd completely forgotten about, and we saved $30,000 in revenue that would have been otherwise lost. So when you start thinking about it, a lot of people are very, very short-sighted in the way that they set up their businesses. And this is what we try to encourage and educate people, that even if you're not using FusionHQ, obviously we're kind of biased, we love ourselves, but there are, other platforms that can handle some of those solutions. But the main issue is that you just simply choose one that is going to do the job properly from day one, because migrating is a real headache. Relearning everything is a real headache.
Well, so speaking about the learning curve around trying to master these systems, I already know that trying to patch together a sales funnel out of WordPress-based solutions and other third-party providers is, kind of significant, because you have to learn how Aweber works, for example, versus how GetResponse works, versus how Digital Access Pass or Wishlist Member works. And then it's like trying to compare the pros and cons between the two, and then which, squeeze, and sales page solution do you use, and why. So it's kind of like if you have 5 different platforms you're trying to cobble together, you've got 5 different pieces of software you got to learn
and constantly update and constantly keep on top of. And and most of those systems are not designed to communicate with each other. They're simply built independently, and then people learn how to try and hack them and push them together. And that causes all sorts of problems. And let's take Wishlist, for example. Not that I have anything particularly against Wishlist, but I have friends who've used it in the past, and they complain that they can lose, on average, about 30 to 40% of their sales because of using Wishlist. And the reason for that is simply that the way Wishlist handles a member setup, for example, is that after the person has purchased, they are then asked to create their access account. Well, that particular page is not secure. So what happens is that some people will go in, they'll make a single purchase, copy that setup URL, and then share it on various forums. And so the wishlist owner now has the problem that there's loads of unauthorized people getting access to that URL, setting up accounts, and they have no idea who was the legitimate users and who wasn't.
Yeah, I recall when I was trying to address that issue with Digital Access Pass, they gave me, I think for every customer that purchased, we got an expiring URL. Mm-hmm. So essentially, after a certain period of time, then that URL would no longer work.
Right.
And then each person, you could basically allocate a maximum number of IPs they could access the product from. Yep. So that was a way of addressing that. Does your product do stuff like that?
We go to a little more extreme lengths to try and protect. So basically only one account can ever be created per purchase. each account is limited to 2 IPs, but can automatically be reset, but only reset by the purchasing email address. So that means that basically they don't need to contact support. They can reset the URL direct from where they are, which reduces customer support headaches. But also, only one person can be logged in with one set of details at any one time. So if you do have somebody sharing their login username, it automatically logs out whoever else is logged in at that particular time. So there's only one person can be logged in at one time. Only 2 IPs can be used before basically it resets and needs the original email address to authorize it. And it resets the IP address based on the on the IP of the email received. And, whoever's clicking on the link inside of that email, it resets it to that IP address. So that basically means that only the account owner can ever get access to the area, and only one person is logged in at one time.
So what's the learning curve on FusionHQ?
Very, very fast, relatively speaking. It all depends on basically how tech savvy you are in terms of, we try to make it as there's no real coding required. However, some people are just naturally intuitive towards operating software, and some people are naturally not. And so we found that many people are very, very fast, they just pick it up. Others require a little bit more of a learning curve, but if they can't handle learning FusionHQ, they're certainly not going to handle learning other platforms and trying to connect different platforms together. And the other variable is essentially if you know what you're trying to achieve and you're very clear about what you want to achieve, then most people who are in that situation get results very, very fast. If you're not clear, then there's a learning curve associated to trying to learn exactly what kind of business you're setting up. But to help overcome that, we've got a bunch of pre-made business templates inside of FusionHQ, which means you can actually have a business, even without having a clue what you're doing, set up within 60 seconds. You literally just punch in a bunch of customized variables like your name, your PayPal address, and the URL you want to use, and it will set up the entire business for you, and then you can go through a process of actually learning how to edit that business and customize that business. So it's really designed for the total beginner right through to the real true professional.
Is there any need for developers to be involved?
No, absolutely not.
Very compelling.
Everything is drag and drop.
Okay. Is there any way I could take a test drive?
I'm sure we can hook something up.
Cool. So I want to hop back to, kind of like much more of a foundational question, especially for those people that are really kind of not familiar with how a sales funnel works. Can you explain to us what a sales funnel actually is, and then break down all the core pieces of a sales funnel?
Yeah. So essentially, a sales funnel is nothing more than an online process. And it starts with either somebody opting in or somebody making a purchase. So if somebody opts in, that's your typical squeeze page, or sometimes called landing page, something like that, essentially where somebody is asked for their first name and their email address to get access to a free gift or something like that. And that's used for the list building. So quite often at the front end of a sales funnel, we have a list building component where we're capturing name and email address. Sometimes that's bypassed and we're using a front end product. Quite often a low ticket item, maybe $27, maybe $47. In the case of a big launch, it could be a high ticket item, maybe $497 or $997. But that's the beginning of the process. The sales funnel then expands to providing various other offers that are directly connected and related to the initial offer. So let's take our example of having a squeeze page and having somebody opt in. And maybe they're opting in for a training course on some personal development technique. And it's a free report, maybe just a small manual on how to use this technique, what it is, and how to use the basics. Then the next page may say, well, hey, look, seeing as you're here, perhaps you're interested in getting a special offer on the online DVD training course. So we've got this online video course that goes in and it teaches you in far more detail how to use this technique. And, that's going to be $97. Normally it sells at $197, but you take advantage now, you're going to get it for $97. So this is what we typically call the OTO, or the one-time offer. And that's just simply giving massive value to somebody who is in that present moment. And this is hugely powerful. I mean, this is really the essence of internet marketing, is to be able to take somebody, qualify them by getting them to opt in, and then presenting them a very compelling offer on the next page. Now, that's a very short sales funnel. From there, we can then expand it out, and we can have upsells and downsells. So from there, if they say yes to that, we can take them through what's called an upsell. So now we're offering them perhaps to come to a live event or have some personal one-on-one coaching, or maybe to get the advanced DVD training course or the advanced membership access. So essentially, we can keep taking them up. Each time they say yes to an offer, we can then present them with another offer. To do this correctly, you always want to be adding value and not devaluing what they just previously bought. And I mean, I've seen this done wrongly so many times, where basically somebody goes in and they make an offer for something that's completely unconnected, or they'll start the sentence with something like, now that you've just bought this, if you want to know the real truth, the real secrets, or the real strategy to success in this particular technique, now you need to buy this course. And what that's basically doing is saying, well, the thing that you just purchased beforehand is a waste of time, because you won't be able to get success unless you buy this upsell product. And that doesn't really work. I mean, it's just devaluing what people have bought previously. So always in an upsell process, in a sales funnel process, always be looking to add value and increase the value of the previous purchase, not devalue what they've just bought.
So you're basically moving them up the value chain
right,
progressively.
Through an ascension model.
Okay, so let me ask you about the opt-in giveaway. Is there any type of some kind of best practice around what opt-in giveaway you create? Is it much better for it to be a light free gift or a kind of like massive download? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've got a pretty massive download as an opt-in giveaway, and I'm wondering, if that should just be a product.
Well, this is often something that you need to split test, and this is a whole other thing around sales funnels, right? And that's one of the things we're very heavy on in FusionHQ, is to be able to split test your sales funnels. So the truth is, I can't answer you accurately. I don't know. It's going to depend on your niche. It's going to depend on your perception of higher value. It's going to depend on how you've positioned it. And it also depends on what you've got to sell after that. So there is a danger, and there's always a balance. So the danger is that if you give away too much value on the front, you don't have enough to then sell them on the back. And if you have another product that is marginally better than the one you just gave away, then it's going to be difficult for somebody to part with the money, because they say, well, why should I pay $100 for that when I've got all of this value for free? And you see that a lot of websites do this. The whole freemium model on online web businesses has been brought into question by more than one online entrepreneur. And basically, in a lot of testing that's been done, when you have a free account for something, quite often what it does is actually devalue the paid accounts that you have. And so, yes, people get a lot of sign-ups, they build their list, but they're building their list with freebie seekers, and they're actually getting people who would have bought not buying, simply because they don't feel that the value that you're asking for the upsell to buy the premium version is worth the difference between what you're giving away on the front end if you give away too much value on the front end. And so in the case of audio digital products or information products, the same thing applies. If you give away too much information on the front and the next level is not significantly different, then you actually reduce your conversions on the sales that follow within the sales funnel. On the other side, if you don't give away enough value, then people don't opt in and you don't build your list.
Okay.
And nobody maybe even sees the offers if you're making them actually opt in before they're getting to see an actual sales page. Mm-hmm. So there is a definite, very fine balance, and each individual industry is going to have different tolerances, and each individual sales funnel is going to have its own variables as to what that point is. Because, as I say, it's going to depend on how much value you can then offer after the free one, after that free opt-in.
Okay. So when you bring the visitor who is opted in through your sequence of, value-added offers, what does that look like exactly? Is it going to be a succession of pages that they get hit with pretty much after they get their free gift?
Yep, absolutely. That's your typical thing, and you've seen it 100 times, and we all hate it, and yet we all respond to it.
Mm-hmm. I just did that, actually, minutes before getting you on this interview.
Yep. It's a painful truth that even as marketers, we understand the strategies of scarcity and limitation and offers and upsells and downsells, yet we are human and we still respond to them. And so in all of the testing that we've seen, it's really important to understand that even though there's a lot of resistance by people to use these kind of techniques, if you want to increase your business, know that they work. And so basically, yes, the first thing you'll see is the opt-in page. The next thing you'll see is the one-time offer page, and with a buy now button and a no thank you button. And if they buy, then they'll see the next page, which will be an upsell. Maybe if they click no thanks, maybe they'll be given another offer. And downsells are extremely powerful. So, for example, and they're very, very easy, because basically you can take the same offer and perhaps remove some of the bonuses from it and sell it for less. Or maybe offer a 7-day free trial to the same product. So it's very easy to take exactly the same offer and just repackage it slightly or adjust the payment plan slightly and get some people who previously said no to now say yes. And, that adds a very serious increase in your ROI per lead. It's also really important to understand that one of the reasons why this is so effective is the fact that there is very few times in this world where you have somebody's undivided attention. So let's take, for example, if you walk into a bookstore and you're looking for a book on internet marketing, for example, and you go to the business section and there's a bunch of books on internet marketing and you have no idea which one to buy. And all you've got is basically the front cover, usually just even the spine as a headline to grab your attention, that you've then got to take a physical action. Now read the front cover, see if that's gripping enough to make you turn it over and read the back cover. Hopefully that's enough to then make you flick through it and make the decision to buy. But at the same time, you've got lots of other competing titles right next to it. Plus, you're also, as a book in that bookstore, you're not targeted. Everybody who walks into that bookstore isn't a targeted customer. But online, if you get somebody to actually opt in, now you've got their undivided attention. You don't have a bunch of other links going off into different places. You actually have a single sales page with one specific focus and intention. You have already pre-qualified the potential buyer because they've taken the time to opt in. And so they're showing that they have an interest in your particular niche or subject. So now they're focusing on a sales page. Now you can have an entire sales page to sell them on that same book. And then this is why basically ebooks can often sell for more than a physical book, even though they're often less content, poorly edited, poorly written, have no hard costs associated to them, and yet you can still sell them for more. And this is really a very, very important concept and principle to understand online. And so basically we can take them through these stages. It's the same way that, when, for example, a car salesman sells you a car, his best opportunity to get you to upgrade the tires, to get you to upgrade the mags, to upgrade the insurance, to upgrade the seats, the steering wheel, all of this type of thing is easier to do at the point of purchase when somebody's already committed to that particular product than it is to do at a later date.
So how many offers should you make in the very beginning, immediately after the opt-in, before enough is enough?
Great question. And again, the truth is that's a very variable answer. And only split testing will really tell you how tolerant your particular niche and audience is going to be. Part of that is going to be down to how well you've positioned them. If you start giving them a bunch of random offers, so one of my first ever websites was on a therapeutic technique called EFT. And so...
What do you think about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique?
I've disproved the theories behind why it says that it works, but at the same time, I know that it does actually work. So I've seen huge results with EFT with a lot of customers and clients, but at the same time, I'll be the first one to tell you that whatever Gary Craig teaches as a logic behind why it works is completely wrong. And that's why it's so easy to disprove and why there's so much controversy around it. Yet at the same time, those people I know that have used it in a therapeutic setting have had incredible results.
As long as it works, baby.
Precisely. So, controversial question. But essentially, if somebody opts into EFT, now why would I go and sell them a course on hypnosis? It's connected, there's overlap, and it's the same potential audience, but essentially all I'm going to do is start annoying them because they're there for information about EFT. So basically their tolerance level is going to be connected. How many offers you can present is going to be how targeted those offers are. And obviously in the natural therapies niche, their tolerance is a little lower for getting sold to. In the IM niche, we're a little bit more adjusted to it and get used to it. And so we can get away with presenting a few more offers. But again, people's patience still wears thin if those offers are not connected and are not offering genuine additional value to the previous choice they made. So in short, I would say no more than usually 1 to 2 offers after the initial opt-in or the initial purchase.
What do you recommend for split testing?
Split test everything.
Okay, but is there a platform that you recommend?
FusionHQ.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
we have inbuilt split testing. I never used to do split testing. I knew I should do split testing, but I never did it because it was a pain in the ass, let's be honest about it, to install scripts, to do tracking, to do checking and everything else. In Fusion, when you create a sales funnel page, you create a squeeze page, you create a sales page, all you have to do is click A/B, and it copies the page that you've just created and creates a duplicate of it and allows you to basically make changes to that duplicated page. And then you just click upload and it's basically live. And whenever you go back to that sales funnel, you actually can visually see the A/B split test results happening in real time, which is really fun when you're doing a launch and you're getting massive traffic through, because you can literally see which page is working in front of your very eyes and go in and make the changes and updates very quickly.
So tell me, for someone who's not necessarily a internet marketing veteran, what are some of the, I guess, most common mistakes people make around setting up their sales funnel?
So the first thing I see people doing is trying to make it too complicated from day one. That's perhaps one of the most common problems, is that people go in and they basically try to create these elaborate sales funnels with 3 upsells and 5 downsells and all sorts of things going on, and really they don't have the experience. You know, to me, when you start a sales funnel, start with the opt-in. That's it. Once you've got the opt-in working, now add the sales page behind it. Once you've got that working, then consider if you have how you could maybe create a downsell, because that's the easiest one to do. Then create an upsell and slowly build out your sales funnel a piece at a time. And, people are always worried, well, what about the sales that I'm losing? I can tell you lose more sales by not having something online and operational than you do from trying to actually get something perfect.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a lag time, so I'm kind of wondering, does it make sense to have all your stuff ready first and then go live? Or, let's say it takes you some time between the opt-in giveaway and then, figuring out you want to sell. So in the meantime, there's going to be a gap between when they opted in and when you have your product ready, and it could be days or weeks. What do you do to fill up the time in between then?
Well, basically, you can always be working on your business. And I don't see that there should be any lag time. In terms of just getting things published, once you've got your opt-in form working, get it published, get it online. And it doesn't mean you need to spend a huge amount of time and effort trying to generate traffic to it, but at least have it published, at least have it online. Maybe start sending a little bit of Facebook traffic to it, or, doing some AdWords, so that you can actually start testing your opt-in rates. Because you want to make sure those are working before you spend too much time building out the rest of the back end. In addition to that, and the truth is that most people never go back and fix what's broken. Once it's kind of up live, then it's done. It's kind of in their mind, it's taken care of. And so basically they're missing the opportunity to really test and optimize each section. I mean, you want to go from that to getting a product in the back of there as quickly as possible. And of course, there's no point in really trying to generate traffic until you've got something that's going to convert and make money. But even just having the opt-in, at least you're building a list. And that means that once you do have your product, you now have a small list that you can start testing that sales page to. You actually have a list that you can see how your sales page is going to convert and whether people really want the product that you're building. So there's no point in adding an upsell or a downsell to a product that nobody actually wants. We're always assuming that people want our product. We don't ever really test. So by doing it step by step, we're actually testing each stage of the process. We're actually making sure that we're building a list. And again, I mean, if nobody's going to opt into your list because perhaps your product and your niche is simply not that desirable, then you're going to waste a lot of time and money building out copy and products and building out the sales funnel just to find that the project's a failure. Whereas if you can prove that people are opting in, you can prove that you've got a genuinely interested audience, then there's a much higher chance that that audience is going to then buy from you. Once you've got that first product in and you can prove that people are buying, you've got a much better chance to show that you can then add an upsell. And if you add a downsell in, then once you've got metrics happening, you've got something that's actually going to increase the number of sales being made simply because you've actually got traffic, you've got a product and everything else. But if you try and go straight to the end and you try and have this kind of fully optimized sales funnel and you're really worrying about, the reason you're doing this is to avoid losing sales because, what's the point in generating traffic if I haven't got a product there? Then you're missing the whole point that it's taken you, let's say it takes you 2 weeks to build that product. Well, it only takes you 1 day to create an opt-in form. That's it, right? It takes a day to create an opt-in form. So why make it more complicated than that? Get the opt-in form made, get it up online, start building a list. That means you have now 2 weeks while you're building your product, a month, 2 months, however long it takes you to build the product to get the next page up and ready. At least you've got that opt-in form generating and building a list for you when you're ready and good to go. Once that product's in place, put it straight in. And then you can start building out the rest of the sales funnel after that because you've actually got something in place already.
Well, let's say it takes you 2 months to build that product. Are you then sending emails to your list during the 2 months just so that you stay top of mind? Because, I mean, you know, if you don't maintain connection with them, then they might be like, who are you? And...
Yep, you're absolutely right. And, you know, going back to what's the ideal way to do an opt-in form, one of the things that I see very few people do, and yet it's the most effective thing that you can ever do, is to create a 7-part autoresponder sequence as your giveaway. So rather than having high-value giveaways or ebooks or software or anything else, one of the simplest things you can do is to have a 7-part autoresponder course, which is a training program. And the reason I do that is simply because then people learn to expect your emails and to look forward to your emails and to associate them with valuable content. And that increases your open rate, it increases your conversions later on.
Okay, so it sounds like then the best things to have in place before, like from the very beginning, is, you know, your opt-in squeeze page copy, your opt-in giveaway, and then the series of emails so that, you know, you can maintain contact.
For me, the opt-in, the series of emails is the opt-in giveaway. So when I create the squeeze page, it's sign in for your 7-part course to whatever it may be.
I see. Okay.
And that way, you can basically get the opt-in course when you've only got one small piece of content. Once that's up, then it gives you the motivation to make sure day 2 is in place before the first person reaches day 2 and so on. And the truth is that those parts actually can be very, very light. I mean, I've got one that's nothing more than about 3 to 4 paragraphs for each of the days. And that's it. If you know your content, that can literally take you no more than an hour to 2 hours to write the entire 7-part autoresponder sequence, because it's literally just giving away the kind of key highlights. You can have the whole thing literally set up in no more than 2 to 3 hours. And once you've got that opt-in form up and in place, that autoresponder will be taking care of the relationship building for you while you go out and start focusing more on the, you know, the sales product.
Okay, and then how do you then continue to maintain the sales funnel? I think there's 2 areas of maintaining the sales funnel. One area is the traffic. You have to keep traffic flowing into it. And the second thing is to, you know, continue to provide content and offers. I
mean, within a sales funnel, for me, once they're set up, they're set up. Those products are in place. Once the thing is done, I mean, you want to spend a while optimizing it to make sure that it's functioning correctly, but I'm all about set and forget. And so, to be honest, when I create an information product, I want to be able to scale. And that basically means that once the sales funnel's in place, it needs to be able to run on its own. I need to be able to walk away. I want automated businesses. I don't want businesses I have to focus on and manage too much. And so basically, once those sales pages, once the squeeze page is set up and working, it's got a product behind it, it's got a couple of upsells, downsells, and those products are all in place, have been tested, and it's running properly, I can then walk away from it and then focus on the traffic. The traffic, my favorite form of traffic is affiliate traffic. And the reason being is because the affiliates will go out and do all of the hard work of perpetually generating new traffic for that product. You see, I mean, why spend a heap of time on social media, for example, when you can have affiliates go and do the hard work in social media for you? Why become an SEO expert, which requires constant updating, constant learning, and is constantly at risk of being penalized by a latest Google change, when you can have affiliates do that for you? Why become an expert in paid advertising, which really requires a lot of time and money to master to really become effective, when you can have affiliates going out doing the paid advertising for you?
So then it's a matter of figuring out where the appropriate affiliate partners are and giving them a compelling reason to promote your product.
Correct.
Okay, and so then by throwing paid traffic at your sales funnel in the beginning, you can at least come up with the stats.
Right. This is definitely the biggest challenge. And, you know, the truth is, once you start getting your own list built, you can start testing it on your own list as well. So, I mean, I understand that for when you first get started online, it's kind of a little like catch-22, and it's chicken or the egg. And it can be a little bit challenging for people to get momentum because they need this list so that they can kind of get started. And so this is where it is definitely worth investing in, perhaps like generating a little bit of paid traffic. Or I'm not such a big fan of social media. I find that mostly when people go into social media, they are there to socialize. I'm more a fan of, which is the earliest form of social media, which is forums. I find that if I want to generate paid customers, then forums are outstanding because they are in that forum to really gain knowledge about my particular niche. And so that means if I can generate leads out of a forum, even though they may not be a huge flood, they will be highly targeted and high converting. And that can often give me my initial list building, and it can give me my initial sales test results.
So you mentioned automation. How do you automate your sales funnel?
By using something like FusionHQ or setting it up correctly, everything's taken care of. I mean, like, for example, once it's up online, whenever a customer comes to that page, they see the offer. When they buy, the system takes care of that purchase. If they buy a membership, then the membership is taken care of automatically, and they're assigned their membership, and they're automatically sent out their details in an autoresponder. Any of the training that's relevant to that purchase is automatically handled by an autoresponder. If they decide to refund, and they refund from PayPal, for example, then that is notified straight to the system. It doesn't even need to go to customer support. It's automatically deactivating their account. And so as much as possible, it's completely automated. And by, as I say, using affiliates to generate traffic, you're really not even having to handle the traffic generation side of things. You're really kind of very hands-off. I do tend to be a big fan of team building as well, and always look at building my team. I never made money. I made bits of money. Don't get me wrong, I made some money online. I never really made any serious money until I started partnering with people and building a team. This was my biggest mistake, was trying to become a solo entrepreneur. And on the internet world, you have to remember that to become a professional copywriter takes a long time. To learn how to do graphics very well and professionally takes a long time. To learn how to set up systems and sales funnels takes time. To build the product takes time. To handle customers takes time. So one of the first things I did was learn to start outsourcing my customer support, and that freed up huge amounts of my time. Once I learned to be able to teach customer support to simply handle the basic transactions, refunds, that kind of thing, that meant that I was fully hands-off on kind of dealing with customers. And that meant I could really start focusing on building the business more and more. Once I started partnering with programmers and with designers and with other content creators, again, it meant that I could start focusing more and more on my skill set, the parts of the business that I enjoy. So you asked before, what's the biggest mistake most people make? I would say it's not teaming up with other people, and it's trying to do too much of it themselves.
Absolutely. I would say you as an entrepreneur, the value of your time is priceless.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't be spending any of your time executing menial tasks.
No, and at the same time, you shouldn't be executing most of the tasks. If you're really good and you want to really build a business, you identify what is your core skill. Know your core skill and focus on it, or your core passion. Hopefully that, you need to basically make sure that your core skill and your core passion overlap. And anything else in the business, find somebody else to partner with or hire or take care of. Because otherwise you'll find that you will procrastinate over the details. And so for me, I didn't actually I was an affiliate manager, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. And so when I got out of the affiliate management business and I built FusionHQ, I took on a full-time affiliate manager. And I got somebody else to do that part of my business because I recognized that it was the core of our traffic generation. And I knew that it needed to be done, and I knew that it needed to be done well. And I wanted to enjoy business. I want to enjoy what I do. And so even though I'm fully qualified, you see, I have all the skills. It was what I did before, but I choose not to do it because if I did it, it would never be done as well as it needs to be done. And it would be procrastinated over, and I wouldn't have enough time to do everything else. So that meant taking on somebody else. I mean, this is the truth, is that, if you really want to make money, then follow the wisdom of team. Together, everybody achieves more. And I think that's the biggest mistake that many entrepreneurs make, is because they fear that somebody, that they can do it better than somebody else, or that they want to take total control, that they're constantly fighting, or the biggest lie that most people have for themselves is that they can't afford to take on somebody else. And I lived with that lie for over 4 to 5 years. And it wasn't until I realized, and I never started making more money. I didn't suddenly make thousands of dollars where I could start hiring other people. I had to realize that what I needed to do was simply team up with other people. And that way, there's another big advantage is that you also create accountability. Because by having a team partner or a JV partner, you're now being accountable. When you say you're going to get something done by a certain date, you get it done. If you say to yourself you're going to get it done by a certain date, chances are it will get delayed. And this is just human nature. So, later on, once you start building on your successes, then you start having the luxury of being able to hire the right team members because you've got the money to reinvest. And you can start thinking about, okay, how to hire the right team, how to hire the right people, and maintain 100% ownership of your business. In the early days, I would suggest most people don't have that luxury unless they've got some capital to invest.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our interview. I'd like to end with these last 3 questions. What do you think is the most effective way to change the world?
Start with yourself. That's the short answer.
Fantastic. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change,
absolutely. I mean, you cannot expect anybody else to do something that you're not prepared to do yourself. And I think too many people wait around for somebody else to do something. If you can see something that needs to be done, be the person that gets off your ass and do it. And basically, I see that there's a lot of misinformation around global change, a lot of misinformation around, health. There's a lot of misinformation about ecology. There's a lot of misinformation around economics. And the truth is that basically, if we want to really change the world, then start living how we want to see it to be. And we can't really do much more than that, And so we've got, certain statistics, for example, to tell us that a lot of people are wasting, I can't remember the exact statistics now, but it's billions of hours every year of human potential is wasted sitting in commuting traffic. The amount of pollution generated by people sitting in cars in commuter traffic, the amount of energy wasted because of the inefficient offices and the way that cities are run. And so perhaps one of the first things we can learn to do is become a home-based business, become entrepreneurial, be able to run a business online. It's one of the first things we can do to help a definite impact on the world by ensuring that when we create businesses, they're there to help people, that they're there to provide value, that they're there to help educate people and provide services to people to make the world a better place rather than chasing money. And I think this is, again, for me, one of the biggest mistakes a lot of entrepreneurs make. And I use the word rather lightly there. But people starting online is that they're running around trying to chase the goose that lays the golden egg. And, rather than trying to figure out how they can create something that provides value, all they're looking for is cash. And when we do that and we operate in that way, we build businesses that really give us little satisfaction. We create businesses that provide the world with very little value. And there's a much greater chance that we're going to run from one opportunity to the next without ever really generating a significant income.
So what is your life purpose? And are you fulfilling your life purpose right now?
Yeah, my life purpose is to help people to become essentially the best that they can be in whatever they're doing. So we provide the information, we provide the tools for people to build the online business and to help those people then reach other people by being able to focus on disseminating useful information that can help change the world and giving them the tools to be able to do that without having to get caught down and tied up in lengthy learning processes and technical knowledge and unuseful skills that is really unnecessary to running a business when they should be focusing on delivering value.
How can we best stay in touch with you, Leon?
Basically, go to FusionHQ.com and go to the support desk. And support at FusionHQ. I get all of the mail from there, and people can contact me direct from there.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your knowledge and experience.
My pleasure.
Thanks, folks, for listening to the Entrepreneurs for a Change podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us reach more people with inspiring stories like this one by giving us a 5-star rating in iTunes. If this podcast inspires you to join the movement of change-making entrepreneurs, we'd love to give you a jumpstart with our free Business Changemakers Toolkit, which you can download at www.entrepreneursforachange.com/join. If you have a changemaker in mind you'd love for us to interview, go to entrepreneursforachange.com/suggest and tell us who and why. Finally, feel free to stop by facebook.com/entrepreneurs for a change to share your thoughts and say hello.